Charles Joseph Minard was a French civil engineer recognized for his significant contribution in the field of information graphics in civil engineering and statistics. Minard was among other things noted for his representation of numerical data on geographic maps. Early life. Minard was born in Dijon in the Saint-Michel parish. He was the son of Pierre-Etienne Minard and Bénigne Boitou. His father was a clerk of the court and an officer of the secondary school. Minard was baptized at Saint-Michel on the day of his birth. He was very bright and his father encouraged him to study at an early age. At age 4 he learned to read and to write, and when he was 6 his father enrolled him in an elementary course in anatomy. He completed his 4th year of study at the secondary school at Dijon early, and then applied himself to studying Latin, literature, and physical and math sciences. At age 15.5, he was admitted to the prestigious École Polytechnique, and then he studied civil engineering at École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées. Work as a civil engineer. In September 1810 he was sent by the government to Antwerp and then almost immediately to the port of Vlissingen. There, he solved a critical problem with a cofferdam that was leaking water faster than it could be removed. He solved the problem by using pumps driven by a steam engine. Only the third time this solution had been applied to a project. He worked for many years as a civil engineer on the construction of dams, canals and bridge projects throughout Europe. On November 1, 1830, he was named superintendent at the School of Bridges and Roads, where he continued to serve through 1836. While he was awarded the Cross of the Legion of Honor, he then became Inspector of the Corps of Bridges until he retired in 1851, after which he dedicated himself to private research work. Minard was a pioneer of the use of graphics in engineering and statistics. He is most well known for his cartographic depiction of numerical data on a map of Napoleon's disastrous losses suffered during the Russian campaign of 1812. The illustration depicts Napoleon's army departing the Polish-Russian border. A thick band illustrates the size of his army at specific geographic points during their advance and retreat. It displays 6 types of data in 2 dimensions: the number of Napoleon's troops, the distance traveled, temperature, latitude and longitude, direction of travel, and location relative to specific dates. This type of band graph for illustration of flows was later called a Sankey diagram, although Matthew Henry Phineas Ryle Sankey used this visualization 30 years later and only for thematic energy flow. The original description in French accompanying the map translated to English. Figurative map of the successive losses in men of the French army in the Russian campaign 1812 to 1813. Drawn by Mr. Minard, Inspector General of Bridges and Roads in retirement. Paris, the 20th of November 1869. The numbers of men present are represented by the widths of the colored zones in a rate of 1 mm for 10,000 men. These are also written beside the zones. Red designates men moving into Russia, black those on retreat. The informations used for drawing the map were taken from the works of Messrs. Chiers, de Ségur, de Fezensac, de Chambray and the unpublished diary of Jacob, pharmacist of the army since the 28th of October, in order to facilitate the judgment of the hour regarding the diminution of the army. I supposed that the troops under Prince Jerome and under Marshal Davoust, who were sent to Minsk and Mobile and who rejoined near Orsha and Witebsk, had always marched with the army. Recognition. Modern information scientists say the illustration may be the best statistical graphic ever drawn. French scientist, physiologist and chronophotographer Etienne Jules Méry first called notice to Minard's dramatic depiction of the fate of Napoleon's army in the Russian campaign. saying it defies the pen of the historian in its brutal eloquence. Noted information designer Edward Tufte says it may well be the best statistical graphic ever drawn, and uses it as a prime example in the visual display of quantitative information. Howard Weiner identified Minard's map as a gem of information graphics, nominating it as the world's champion graph. Arthur H. Robinson wrote that Minard was a cartographic pioneer in many respects and pointed out that his famous map was only one of 51 thematic maps he created during his lifetime.